Hi guys, this is Nikki, you also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the Philippine Market Update. It's November 13, 2020, and it's a Friday. So I would like to say sorry for the last few days. Well, actually, we are really there's the so anyway. Yesterday we didn't have a live stream because there was a typhoon Ulysses, Philippines, of course, and definitely the Philippines had this huge typhoon. But let's begin with the market, and we will read the news as well. Wait up, guys. Let's go to the index. So your index is down 54 points, down slightly 1%, less than 1%. You could see that the market is still very positive. Actually, we do note that the market is still positive, and I would agree with that positive wave because the market is pricing in a 2021 reopening theme. So far, let's read the news. Let's read what the prices of the day are. The most top traded. Okay, your BDO is down 1%, BDO is 93, your BPI is down 3%, 81. Take note that BPI rallied to as high as 92 last week, so this drop of 81 is just really a trimming of that move, given that BPI came from about 70 to as high as 90. So, and it was even less than 70 if you were very early for BPI. It came from about 50 during the March area. Now, BDO is definitely lagging behind your BPI, so there are some buyers picking it up here at about 92, 93, and willing to sell it at 98, 99, 100, etc. Your ACEN today is dropping 3%. There is that gap down a while ago at about 390, but it wasn't sustained to be a gap down of as big of a magnitude as some people picked it up. We'll read the disclosures on ACEN later on. Your Ayala land continued higher from about 38.30 to 3% higher to about 39.5. Do note that this Ayala land might be outperforming way too much. That 39 to 42 might be actually a chance to sell. So SM, we opined that actually at 1.1 that might have been a chance to sell. Indeed, at 1.1 it's now back to 1,030. We are seeing some profit-taking correction on your SM. PHR is up 7%. We did note that PHR last Friday was sorry, not last Friday, the the day before the market closed, which is Wednesday. So PHR was actually up. PHR broke above that 240, 250 mark, and today was a continuation. This continues to be a hold. Take note, though, that PHR has this a bit of a resistance, I think, at prior here at about 360 and 320. However, this is still a continuous move up. We might see it break that 3 or even hit 320, so still hold that position. Stats-wise, let's take a look at the other names. So your Chelsea is down, so had a lot of profit taking at about 7, so it continued down today. Same for your, I think your Dito is also down after being profit taken from about 7, right? So is it below 6 already? Sorry, it's not trading. It's not trading. So only Chelsea was trading. So I guess it got halted, but it would be the same, maybe 3% down. So stats-wise, let's take a look at the top traded names. Your Megawide continued higher, 9% after the break of 8. Megawide is doing this preferred share offering. We could take a look and read that later on. SM Prime, you've got, let me just read that, MWIDE Preferred Shares offering. So a few days ago, there's what this Megawide is trying to sell preferred shares, perpetual preferred shares. My view is that the market might not be seeing it as an attractive rate because it's just about 3%. If you'll notice, the structure is beneficial for Megawide because of the low interest rate that they're offering. But for the investors buying Megawide preferred shares, take note that the yield that they are paying is about 5%. Let me see how the shares are. I think it's here in the press releases. Let me see. MWIDE Preferred Shares news. Megawide to sell preferred shares 2 days ago. Here. Wait lang. Let me just read the most fresh news on it. 2 days ago, Reuters. So Megawide jumped up on the offering because that offering is actually positive to the construction company, just like how Jollibee, Ayala Corp, JJ Summit those banks also, like BDO and Metro Bank, were able to borrow like $500 million, $600 million. Even your ICT was able to borrow something like $400 million during the crisis of pandemic. They were able to borrow something like 4% dollar or 3.5%. So that interest rate is very low. It's positive to the company, but it's a little bit low when you are the one investing and giving your money, buying the preferred shares. So the preferred shares will be used, in my view, to be the liquidity to enhance the company's efforts to do the construction and site development. So for those who aren't aware, Megawide Construction is engaged in the general construction business. Company's business includes constructing, enlarging, repairing, engaging in any work upon building houses, condominiums, roads, plants, bridges, piers, waterworks, railroads, and other structures, owning and using and developing real estate of various kinds. The company also has construction and airport operations. Megawide is very well known to be the one who constructed and developed and operated and maintained the Mactan Cebu International Airport. So actually, Philippines Megawide is an expansion on their Manila Airport. And they won the contract for the Manila Airport and the PITX and the terminals. So they are using all of that money for the construction effort. So I think the market viewed it more positive to the shares rather than the preferred shares. So you could read this post. Let me read it. Okay, so from November 10 starting till November 17, they have a target listing date on November 27, 2020. They want to raise 5 billion pesos or selling 50 million shares at 100 each. People who do not want to invest in stocks are going to get a fixed dividend rate. The pricing is still dependent on interest rates, but in my view, it's probably less than 5%. So the yield will be not as huge as you would think. 50 million shares, Series A will pay a quarterly dividend at about 4% per annum, 4.75%. Series 2B will give a 5.75% per annum. So the company is borrowing, so they are doing it through preferred shares. These would be a redemption period. There will be a 2.5-year redemption period for MWP2A, and there's also a redemption period for MWP2B. This redemption works something like a maturity date for bonds, and they want to pay you after 2.5 and 5 years. If the company fails to pay dividends on time, the preferred shares are cumulative and dividends will be considered in arrears and must be paid before any other dividends. So the financial background of the company, today you know that the company is already operating the Cebu Mactan International Airport. This contributes about 20% of their revenues. Their land port operations in Parañaque, Integrated Terminal Exchange is PITX, contributing about 3%. Revenues is about 19 billion, but there's a lot of EBITDA. There's a lot of depreciation because, of course, they need to construct and construct. So their balance sheet would actually be a little bit on the borrowing leverage side. The gradual reopening will actually help the company recover their revenues, which has already trimmed the losses to below 300 million pesos by this year's end. So the proceeds will definitely be a useful thing for infrastructure project in the Philippines in preparation for the post-COVID economic recovery. The budget will be 1.4 billion to redevelop the existing NAIA terminals, to remove the decongestion and increase the total passenger handling capacity coming in the next few years. Now, the company is also eyeing to put up the Cebu Integrated Transport Hub by rehabilitating the existing carbon market into a new public market, including construction terminals and ferry terminals. It should complement the company's recurring revenues in the future. Yeah, so actually there were some people who asked me about this. You could read all of the news on Megawide. Let's take a look at the MWIDE. Let's take a look at the Megawide website. Megawide Construction Corporation. See the website and the investors presentation. So megawide.com.ph. Take note that they are also the winner of the airport that's happening in your Clark. So they're also doing that. Tama, no? Let me see. Let me just read the news, if my memory is correct. Megawide Clark Airport. So actually, as early as April 7, Megawide, together with its partner GMR Infrastructure, is cementing the position to actually be ahead of schedule in constructing that airport, in expanding that Clark passenger terminal. So in a way, you could understand that Megawide is more of a reopening play because they are indeed constructing your airports. And if you're constructing airports, you are assuming that that airport will someday have a passenger to fly in the future. So it is aligned with our view that in the next couple of months, years, your Cebu Pacific indeed will give you a free trip to Japan. Instead of putting 50,000 buying a Japanese ticket, we did say that you just buy Cebu Pacific shares at 39. Today, it's trading at about 42, 43. So that is still a good entry point, even if you are a bit late, if this is your first time listening to Awesome10X. Let's try to read the investor's presentation of Megawide before we do anything further. So first half 2020, let's take a look at some investor presentations. I'll open up some of them, 2019, 2020. Okay, so let's read. Megawide investor presentation. Okay, what does the company do? It's a listed construction and infrastructure development. They've got engineering, they've got transport. So they're the largest private airport operator for Mactan, Cebu. This is 20% of their revenues, property developer and operator, largest building construction company as well. The growth drivers, okay, the same. Milestones, okay, so these are their milestones. The company had an IPO in 2011. The price of that IPO, I can't remember. 2011 Megawide IPO price. Let's see. It was at 784. So actually, you're buying at the same price of the IPO if you bought at 784 below a couple of days ago. But even at today's price of about 880, some people are willing to play it, in my view, more of a reopening play. So they're playing it because of the reopening, but they're also playing it because of that preferred share offering. So the preferred shares is going to complement the company's ability to reconstruct and all the needed development money for that. So as you could see, these are the milestones that they've done. They've already got the Clark International Airport. It's a PPP. They've got the Mactan, Cebu. They've already produced that. They also have the Parañaque, the PITX. So these are the big PPP projects. So in the last couple of years, if you'll notice, PPP has been their biggest catalyst for Megawide. And the growth has been coming from your government. So really, this is more like a government-related contractor. Most of the construction is government-related because it is a very big-ticket project. You've got airports, you've got PITX. So these are really PPPs, private-public partnerships. When you'll take a look, the construction EBITDA is it's very huge, 48 and then 49% for your airports. So this is really a huge government-related contract play. Liquidity and gearing ratios. So they are borrowing money. That means that they will be getting more debts for the preferred shares. That would increase as time goes by. However, so yeah, that's something that you have to keep in mind. So the debt ratios are going to expand as time goes by. Leading construction company in the country. These are the licensed, these have been their clients. They have been the one building for your Mega Worlds, Double Dragon, your house, your Shangri-La properties, your Rockwell, Araneta, Artholand, SMDC, even Philippine H2O Ventures, Daiichi Properties, even City of Dreams Casinos, Bench, First Park Homes, HT Land. I think First Park Homes is this a Vista Land? Not so sure. Wait, First Park Homes developer is who? Century Properties, sorry. First Park Homes is Century Properties Housing Land Development. So you'll notice that they have a lot of various infrastructure projects, and so their revenues will be not useful to see today because it's about the next 5 years that you have to check out. So yeah. So far, I think the market sees that this is a reopening move, expanding airline partnerships, product offerings, growing earnings, la la la. Okay, yeah, it's very much a play on your reopening. We will see more. Let's take a look at more news. I think everyone is wondering what's happening on their ACEN. Let's take a look and read the news on ACEN as well. One of the most read reports, 5 most viewed disclosures, the material information on ACEN. Let's take a look at that. So let's read this together. GIC Private Investment is investing 20 billion pesos or $400 million. Tama ba? 20 billion, $400 million. Yeah. So they are investing $400 million to AC Energy Philippines, a sign of positiveness, positivity. They announced a potential investment. Who is GIC? For those who aren't aware, GIC is a government fund, ARAN Investment Private Limited. GIC will acquire 17.5% ownership stake in ACEN, and it will increase the stock rights offering, which will mean that they will also get that offering. The infusion will increase AC Energy's money. This investment will be a combination of 4 billion primary shares through a private placement at a price of 2.97 per share on a post-SRO basis. The price represents 25% premium on the approved SRO using a price of 237 per share, which is subject to the regulatory approval. The VWAP is lower at 350 per share. So you'll notice that these are discounts on that VWAP. ACEN's SRO is subject to approval by SEC. Given that the AC Energy will not participate in the initial round of the SRO, it will provide maximum availability to minority shareholders. Summary completion of this table is using the ratio of 1 subscription share entitlement for every 1.11 shares held, meaning for every 1.11 shares held, for every 11,100 shares you own, you can buy 10,000 shares of ACEN at about the price of 237. This means that AC Energy is gonna give you an ability to buy at 237. So it's almost free money for you. If you don't have money, then of course you will sell some shares today so that you can avail of that what do you say? So that you can avail of your free ACEN shares at 237. So it's kind of like free money if you have ACEN shares. Yeah, so that's really how you think about it. Let's take a look at the charts of ACEN. Of course, ACEN has already gone from 220 to 440, right? Let's go Instagrams. Let's take a look at the charts. I'll explain it for you. Okay, let's take a look at these. Click, click, click. You'll notice that today is a very volatile day for AC Energy because there will be a real seller because some people will not wish to pay money anymore. So how it begins is that you have to understand, although the news is good that you have a definitive buyer at 297, which means here there was a private placement here at about 3, and the VWAP was something like 350. So this was the price of the big investor. So that's like your private placement price. And then they're saying that the VWAP is at 350. So what happens here is just math. Assuming you've got 10,000 shares at about this price of about 2.4. Let's assume that you got this breakout at 240, okay? Or 220. I don't know what your cost is. So 240, it rallied to 440. So you are up something like about nearing 100%. And what you're doing is that because you've got, let's say for purposes of easy math, you've got 11,000 shares, 11,100 shares of ACEN. That means you could buy ACEN at about 10,000 shares, meaning you have to put up 10,000 times 237. You have to put up 2.37 times 10,000 or 23,700 pesos. So the truth is you've got free money already because your 11,000 shares here was like 23,000 pesos. You've got your 10,000 shares today is about 40,000 pesos. Even if you just sell half or 5,000 shares, that will pay off for your SRO because you cannot get your ACEN for free. I mean, technically, you still have to give that money, right? So it's two things. It's either you sell 5,000 shares out at the market. You've got 11,000 shares. You sell some. 5,000 times 4.1 is actually 20,000 pesos. That's enough to pay for your 237 costs, right? So that's one thing that you could do. Another thing that you could do is that if you do have money, you just simply maglabas ka ng extra money. So you've got this already at 11,000 shares. dagdag ka ng 10,000 shares, binibigyan ka niya ng chance to buy 10,000 shares more at 237. So the sellers really are people who are not willing to give money anymore for AC Energy. So they're selling. So that is the sell-off on your ACEN. I do expect that not everyone will actually put up money. So there should be some resistance somewhere here about 420 because there will be people who will really sell their AC Energy just to come up with the money for that SRO play, just so that they can pay for that ACEN shares. And it will take them to just sell half so that they could pay for that 10,000 ACEN shares that they are entitled to. So that's how to think about that ACEN move. Now for Megawide, let me just explain to you. So Megawide is of course a breakout last week, and it's had good volume. So the biggest catalyst of Megawide is really that preferred shares, and that is positive. However, take note that there will still be these resistances. So the first resistance is really this 10 peso mark, maybe 10 to 11. So let's not forget that even if that is a resistance, there's also a strong support at 750 to 8 peso. So assuming that you bought at 750 or 8 peso, or even buying at 875, I do think that you are on the bullish side, and the preferred shares is a positive thing to the company Megawide. So it is a positive plus for Megawide. But I think that the market would prefer owning Megawide rather than the preferred shares. Okay, so that's just my view. Let's take a look on your other things. So Megawide is up. Your Mary Mart, I'm not sure why it is going up because I guess it's just people that are bullish on it, but I don't see a catalyst for Mary Mart. So Mary Mart has been rising ever since these levels broke 340, broke 360, even tried to measure as high as 440. I'd say that these could be double tops. I'm not quite sure why it's going all-time highs, but in my view, probably double top sell, probably take out, if you've got Mary Mart, sell. This was your first resistance. Assume that would still be your resistance, so that should be more of a sell, even if it goes higher. Yeah, so I do think that it's more of a selling opportunity. Okay, your globe here at 1992 looks good. If you truly want that 4%, 5% yield, then this globe can give it for you. Pure gold 43, not bad. So we have been opining that 41 was a good entry area, and even if it goes 38, that it would still be a good area. 43, 44, 45, that's just resistance, resistance, resistance. But another resistance would be about 48 for pure gold, and then 50. So some people are just, you know, trying to get something that is cheap, and they think that pure gold 41 was actually attractive, even as high as 43. Some people might still be buying it because they find it attractive as a consumer staple for the Philippine market. Your macro Asia continued higher, and also more importantly, your Shakey's Pizza as well was higher today at about 840. So we are seeing that the market is truly bullish on your restaurants, and I would agree with that move, and this one will continue to go higher in my view. Wait, let me answer. Wait lang. Okay, so let's take a look at your Jollibees, your Shakey's Pizzas as well. So this is a typical flag. In my view, the bullish strength is still there. However, you might be able, it should be attributed to luck, actually, if you can get some Jollibees at about 190 to 185. So we have to put a buy on dips here, just like this one. It was a buy on dip here, and this was a buy on dip here. So assuming Jollibee does give an entry for you nearing 187, 190, I think that you want to take advantage of that, as the uptrend will remain intact. I do think that this 219 to 220 to 230 would be your potential resistance area. However, if you have a longer term perspective, you should hold your position. So here at about Jollibee, we do see that this is a reopening move. So you've got that breakouts here at about 140, 150. I don't think that we will collapse. So even if the market collapses to about 6,700 from the 7,000 level, I think that Jollibee will be picked up, and that would be a great opportunity for you to buy. Also, let's take a look. So Jollibee, that's one. Your Shakey's Pizza has been trending up because of course, the fact that it is also that reopening theme, and the restaurants are one of the biggest beta beneficiaries. So there's this 6, then there's this breakout at 7. I do think that this continues higher. That's why we're saying that it's gonna go higher. This one I think will have a tremendous resistance still higher here at about 950 or 10. So there might be some resistances on the way up, like every round number, 9, 10. But I do think that this one is a solid base here at about 7. So any dips will already be a buy signal. This will be a momentum move on the way up. So any drops of pizza should be accumulated and bought further here at about 8 peso below. So even at 750, if you bought at 730, continue buying on any dips. Not yet time to sell. Wait it out, maybe next year, next year before you unload. Shakey's Pizza has a very strong selling front here about 1050. And maybe the highest would be here at about 11 if you're very lucky. Okay, so risk reward, I also think that SSI will still give that benefit. So we still believe that this one, after you buy at 120, even at 160, or even if you bought today at 160, this one will still be an average up. So this one might continue all the way to about as high as $2. So I think that any flag here will be a buying opportunity for that continuous uptrend move to about 2 to 220. For your PNB, it finally broke out today. So as you could see, this was your flag, then up, magnitude. So this is also your flag. Also, I think it's going to go as high as about 34, 33. So this was a very clear breakout at 25. This was that high at about 25. And that was a clear move up. So whether you bought at the flag or bought here at the breakout, or bought even as early as this 19 areas or 18, then you should be just holding on to your winner, as you could probably make higher highs, higher lows. This one is a keeper, so just keep it. I also want to share, of course, that there's this news on Philinvest. Let's read that news together. PSEI, there's this news. Let me just read it for you. LTG is showing recovery of their revenues. Reports that the 9 months this year was up about 9% higher, 16 billion. So the market will be happy with that news from LTG. We're going to read that news for you as well. Let's try to read that news, the press release of LTG. So who is LTG? LTG is the conglomerate, the mother company of your PNB, the Lucia Tan Group, the owner of PNB Bank. And so let's read it together. LTG reports a 9-month attributable net income of 16.1 billion pesos. It's up 9% year on year. And then PNB contributed 14% of this total attributable income of 2.24 billion pesos. Cigarettes, which is the tobacco business, still accounted for 75%. So PNB is just a small percentage of this company. It is more of a cigarette-related company. So Duai Distillers added 1 billion or about 7%. Eton Philippines accounted for 630 million. Asia Brewery contributed just 4 million or just less than 1%. The 30% stake in Vittoria's Milling is also very small at about 1% contribution. This company paid special dividends of 23 cents or 2.5 billion pesos, inclusive of paying on June about 4.65 billion pesos. As you could see, LTG right now has been paying a lot of dividends or about 66 cents. So let's discuss the cash price of LTG and how does it relate to the company stock price. Let's see that here. Personally, I don't smoke, so I can't relate. I don't see any growth in the smokers, so I'm not quite sure if I can speak for the business itself. I think that the trend right now is vaping, but maybe anyway, I really am not a smoker, so I can't say much. So I'll stop saying whatever I think because I don't know much. But I am not a big so maybe it's just a personal preference. I don't like to invest in smoking, so so that gives me no chance to buy an LTG. However, as you could see, people have been buying up some LTGs. Maybe some of them bought at 9, and then right now it's at 12. So they still got that 60-cent div, 66 cents this year. So they got something like 60 cents on 9 pesos. That's something like 15% yield. Now at 12 pesos, if you're buying it with 60 cents, you got about 5% yield. The question is, will Lucia Tan Group continue to give dividends next year? I don't know, because LTG always is a cyclical play in my view. Why is it cyclical? Because, well, it's tobaccos. So, because my understanding is that cigarette smoking is banned in the Philippines, and I also know that many countries don't like cigarettes. And as you could see, $80 down to about $40. Altria Group is the owner of Philip Morris. So me personally, um, I'm not bullish on smoking. So I'm I'm a no on smoking. So the answer is, if you ask me, I'm a no even for Lucia Tan Group. I would rather own, if I want it, I'll buy the specific names like PNB. So I'd prefer their bank. That's fine with me. I'd prefer maybe, yeah, I'd prefer other names. So personal preference only. Let's take a look at other names. Sige. Okay, MRC rallied, so that is just the same renewable energy play. However, do note that MRC at about 48 cents will have that resistance, so it stopped at about 47 cents today. Tech was a technical breakout last week, as you said. So yeah, it's just a breakout in that sense. But you've got the selling resistances at 8 for tech. Let me answer more questions, and I'll read this. I forgot to read this news. There was a news on Philinvest Land about the recovery of their residential. So Philinvest has been registering a turnaround in their residential revenues. So Philinvest, in my view, is a good play because it's stable. You've got that dividend, 6 centavos, and so you got it already, and then next year you'll still get it. And then the beautiful thing is that most of the time, if the market will reopen and the market can earn some money, and you earn some money, you probably will also be able to see recovery even in real estate sales. So Philinvest Land reported 12.5 billion in gross total revenues for the first 9 months of 2020. Residential revenues increased by 45% in the third quarter as compared to the second quarter. Take note that that 45% comes from a low base last quarter. So we're seeing more of a narrow, we're seeing a high return because it's coming from a low base. For example, if you bought Philinvest Land at 80 cents, it rallies to 160, you make 100%. Not because Philinvest made 100% income, but because you got it from a low price. So it was a turnaround, heavily impacted by lower sales take-up and delays due to the construction, the bayanihan deferment of customer payments. We have seen a V-shaped recovery, a very healthy rebound in June and July, and beginning on September. Our sales have benefited from digital marketing and online selling processes as well. For the first 9 months of the year, office leasing revenues grew by 17%. Our mall also rose by 20%. After the GCQ beginning in September, also other cities have increased gradually for more establishments allowing to reopen. So the support of the CAPEX program and managing our cash flows, we have successfully registered a fixed rate peso denomination of 30 billion pesos. So guys, any company that's able to borrow money at about 3% or 4% or 5%, in my view, is a positive sign. So that gives me the confidence that Philinvest Land can actually grow to as high as 1.2 at the very least starting next year. So in my view, the market is just pricing it that bullishness, and that is what you're seeing, why there are people picking up a lot of Philinvest Land. So I'm going to read the charts for you. So Philinvest Land used to have a median rate of about 1.4. So you've got that upside target, or even if you don't hit that 140, assuming that you get to sell it at about 120, you can still sell it at about 20% return. Plus, you've got that 6 centavos every year. So I guess, like, even if it takes you 1 year, making 25% is attractive enough. So you would always see a buyer. Any price below 90 cents or even below 1 peso, you'd always see a buyer. So I do think that there is a higher low, and 98 cents, 1 peso, 101, there will be a lot of accumulators in Philinvest, and they would all sell somewhere here about 120 to 140 So you really have that big vacuum play, no? You vacuum in the sense that there's a vacuum because it's sold down from 140 to 80 cents. So from a charting perspective, I do think that you'll make that 20%, give it time. So it's gonna go greed mode somewhere next year, in my view. Just like what we felt happened, which already transpired with the Jollibees, pizzas, and Maxes that we were opining on and on again. So we have been saying the same thing like a parrot, and so this is also the same thing. So for Maxes, same thing, no? 5, it's now trading at 7. Do think that this one can rally as high as 9 at the very least. So you've got to wait it out. Like maybe next year it goes 950. So you've got really that higher moves from these restaurants because they were also battered down, beaten down to a pulp. They are our carnage names. Okay, let me now read all comments and questions. It's 35 na pala, sorry, 35 minutes. Which is a better bet, Megawide or DMCI? I can't choose. I think they both are gonna be good bets. So should be okay to have both. DMCI has nickel mining, agree, but DMCI is a very conglomerate, diversified. So I'd say that I like both. I can't choose. We already featured DMC. We said that DMC 4+ levels was a good buy, so I can rewatch that in Awesome10X channel. What is your view on the new FIST bill? What bank stocks are best to get? I'd like to get banks like PNB because I think that they are in an uptrend already and it's very low book value, and they are trying to they want to sell all their real estate properties to get that huge money, and that money could actually be transferred to a special cash dividend. That's my speculation. Hopefully they do that. Even if it's just a small dividend, I think that the market will appreciate it if they successfully sell some properties, which is in the PNB land banks. So like that is one view. I also think that banks will not be too much of a big reward. Like example, if you buy the banks, you probably will make 10%, 20%. So I don't see them going down, but I don't see them also being the best bet. So sector-wise, I think bank is neutral. Meg analysis, please. Meg, we said that about $4, 360 to 4, you got that resistance. However, you got that buyers here at about 330, 320, $3. So it's gonna be a mega world uptrend. You just need to wait it out. What happened to MPI? Why is not continuing an uptrend? Because MPI is a stable hospital, so you've got that resistance at about 440 to 450. What happened to ACEN? I answered that already. ACEN had an SRO. I do think that the people who have ACEN would sell half of their shares so that they could pay for that SRO. What will happen to ACEN SRO? Is it okay to start to buy some now and then get more during SRO with a cheaper price? So there will be sellers, but I don't think that, I don't know what price that you could buy your ACEN. Let's see, I guess that some people would try to buy it near 4. Today it fell to about 390. So 4 below, there might be some buyers, those who really like their ACEN. So they're averaging up. But I think like in general, it's hard to say if you can buy it at which price. I'd say that about 380 to 4 might be okay. And then, of course, if it falls 350, you get to buy more. So depends how much the market needs to sell it off. But I think that 420, 430, you've got that selling pressure because some people who have ACEN will not put up that more cash and they will actually just sell half of their shares to pay for that SRO. So I answered that already. PSEI says that Surtech is engaged in high-tech, focusing on 5G. For 5G, I would prefer Qualcomm and NVIDIA. So I don't really play much on the Philippines for 5G. I would prefer Ericsson, mga ganon. So I don't play Philippines for 5G. Better to play 5G abroad. Good afternoon. Ano po mangyari kay ACEN? Answered that already. And any insights about Holcim? No insight. DMCI, ACEN, already answered. First comment. Thank you for the blogs. Very straightforward. Thank you. Palike muna if possible. Yep, thank you. Palike po. Guys, Friday is a free Friday class pick. Want to invite all of you guys, 5:30 p.m. Philippine time. Although you can watch the replays, you can also watch the replays and then like the video so that the algorithms of Google can promote us to many more Filipinos. Filipinos and non-Filipinos who want to study and watch the markets, Philippines or global. Okay, MRC answered that. MRC has resistance at about 48 cents. What is the prospect for gold? Gold seems to be trading range. Teka lang Gold seems to be a trading range. XAU USD. Trading range siya I think there's still that buy signal mode, pero parang tulog I thought na, ayan parang it's still an uptrend. Uptrend naman tong si gold, pero mas mabagal. So I think that the market is neutral. I'd put the neutral on gold. Like you can buy it low, but you can sell it high. Something like that. 10%, 20%. What is ICT? Thoughts? ICT uptrend, 128 ngayon, 130. Steady lang. I don't think it's an outperformer. Fine lang. Any dips, there will be a pullback buyer. Will mining sectors do well on December? Not sure because mining already went up So like which specific mining? You're talking about Nickel Asia again. Nickel Asia has rallied already. So I think like Nickel Asia is not like gonna outperform anymore. Given that big move from 150 to 450, I think the ×3 move for Nickel Asia could be overdone. So you might see people actually trimming, and they would view, and my view is that they would actually position either they buy back their Nickel Asia at 4 below if they sell it at 440, or they will just put their cash to work in other reopening plays like Cebu Pacific, SSI. I do think that this is the next mover in the next couple of months. Cebu Pacific will go to 55 or 60. So I think like the best bet would be your reopening airline play. Maybe in some sense even Megawide because they're doing that airports. So I prefer like that move. Any idea on Mark? Wala. Nickel play lang. Sumabay lang yan. But I think the big move is on nickel. Gains of Frutas. Frutas is a confidence play of confidence in the market reopening. I think there will be a resistance at 168. We did highlight that Frutas was strong ever since Mr. Jimmy Ting bought at about 168, diba? So he's gonna sell somewhere at about $2 or pero may resistance dito sa 160, 168. I think there is a resistance, some capped upside on 160, but very strong buyers at about 130 below for Frutas. Light every day. Thank you po. Thank you. Megawide has an issue with NEDA. How about your foreign partner? First, Megawide. Well, I think like all the issues of Megawide is related to the fact that they're a government contractor. So as you could very well see, Megawide is a contractor, construction. 50% of their revenues are coming from airports. So pag nagkaroon ng palya kay government, hirap si Megawide. So I agree there is the risk, but you know, Megawide already fell from about 12 to as low as 7. So I think that there will be buyers 8 below for Megawide, even with that risk. I can't understand what is happening with Robinson's Land. Robinson's Land. Robinson's Land is, di ba may delete dito sa MSCI kay Robinson's. But I think that this one is a reopening play as well. So just like all the residential revenues will recover in the next year, I don't foresee that it will make new lows. So you could see this is a higher low here at about 1380, higher low from 10. So 1550 all the way to 14, pick it up, put your buying positions on RLC, you should be okay. You should be okay. First tuning into your stream. Hi, Erica. Thank you for following, and do watch from every day if you can, but you can also replay the rest of the times. Megawide SSI, Mrs. G, just released quarterly report. So Megawide, I think, is a reopening theme, so uptrend move. SSI also, I believe in it. I actually prefer SSI rather than these names. Mrs. G, I think, is more of durog lang, but you've got that selling pressure at 2. Can I read I haven't read the reports of Mrs. G. Let me read it. Maganda ba report niya? Okay ba yung report niya? Nag-recover ba? Let me see. So, technically, mababa naman yung mga expectations ng market. So, mabilis yan i-break. kahit na hindi maganda yung report. As long as narrow loss, ganun. Okay, swings to net loss pa rin, but they are pursuing business transformation. Let's read. So Mrs. G posted a net loss of 420 million pesos on net income from net income last year. Net loss is driven by a decline in revenue for Mrs. G's business general merchandise, reeling from the impact of pandemic, disruption in consumer spending, customer traffic, roadmaps to better profitability. To respond to the drastic market shift, Mrs. G president said that they are focusing on stabilizing the business, making the right investments, given that there is a change in consumer dynamic. They want to reach out both on the physical but also the digital channels. Lahat naman ganun eh. Okay, so increase the market reach, banking on a successful online store, launching a version 2 of its online store. So, okay, the thing about SSI versus Mrs. G is that SSI has proven that they are able to recover. Nakikita mo naman eh. So, between these two, I prefer SSI. Pag SSI nasa 2 pesos na, pero Mrs. G nasa 150 plus pa rin, kasi parehas eh, 150 yan eh. Kung unahan yan sa 2, ang bet natin, in my view, would be SSI. That's my view. Philinvest, I think, will go 20% higher next year. Same with your Robinson's Land, 15.50 all the way to 14 can be accumulated. Sell it at about 18 to 20 next year. BPI, I think there will be buyers all the way 81 to 75. Higher lows naman si BPI. So lahat na nagbenta sa 88, 90, they will be buying it back at about 75. So may buyer yan. Yung mga nagbebenta sa 76 before, babalik yan sa 76 kung makakuha sila. So there was that big sell-off because of that very strong 10% move in a single day. But there will be buyers on BPI should it fall 75 or 76. Even at 81 today, some people would buy back whatever they sold at about 86 above last few days ago. Yeah, 45 minutes na, guys. Sobrang tagal. Thank you very much. See you again, and please watch the channel. And just look back and replay na lang. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.